I have a very short question. Could you give me the status of Town Watch? What's happening with it, the program?
Sure. I'm going to call up Julie Wertheimer from our Public Safety Office to be able to respond.
Good afternoon, Julie Wertheimer, Deputy Director in the Office of Public Safety and Managing Director's Office. Are you referring to Town Watch in terms of it's an operational department?
Well, I think, and I may not be up to date on the information in terms of the funding, where it's going to rest with you, is it going to rest with the Urban Affairs Coalition, just what's going to happen with it?
Sure. So we issued a request for proposal for Town Watch services at the end of the calendar year. And upon reviewing the responses, we are exploring bringing it in-house as a city department in order to memorialize its efforts more closely.
What does that mean?
We believe the mission of Town Watch is very important to what the city does, and so we want to bring it in-house rather than have it be a contract department. I don't know if that decision has been officially made yet, but it's something we are exploring. So in terms of the funding stream, whether it's a contract or directly on the city budget, we'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Madam
You're
Chair.
welcome. Councilman Jones?
Thank you. On the issue of public safety, you might want to come back up. We've given a particular amount of attention to the force multiplier of electronic surveillance or cameras. We want to get a sense from you. There's been much written about the status of the current cameras. I wanted to get your perspective on how they can be added to the weaponry, if you would, to do crime prevention. I would applaud you guys on use of technology by way of social media on that issue, but cameras, as we've seen in Baltimore, Chicago, and New York, have significantly put a dent into crime on some of our streets, and wanted to know how seriously we are about employing that use of technology.
So I can speak to this a little bit. I know Adele Abid is going to be talking to you later from the Office of Innovation and Technology. He's going to be able to give you sort of the latest numbers on how our cameras are doing. My understanding is that there's been some controversy there in the past. They're now functioning north of 80% across the city. And I know he's working really hard on that issue, and Ray Haling is working really hard on that issue. To answer your question succinctly, and Everett Gillison, the Deputy Mayor of Public Safety and Chief of Staff, and I talk about surveillance and cameras and utilizing technology on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. It is a huge priority for us. We share the fact that it needs to be fully integrated. We're not pleased with the fact that we have a number of programs. One of them is called iWatch, the Safe Cam program, and the Anonymous Tip Line, which we think directly. A lot of folks don't know this, but the iWatch program is a good example. It's a mobile application that utilizes a smartphone, but people can do anonymous tips through that program. The PPD tip line, by simply sending any text on any phone to PPD tip, is an anonymous tip that allows you to help the police fight crime. We specifically, and you know because you've been a part of these conversations, farmed that out to a contract to a third party so that that information didn't come directly to the city, so that we could specifically communicate to the public that the city is not going to see who's giving the tip, and it is in fact a third-party anonymous tip. The answer on the camera piece is we need to do a lot better. We need to have our cameras up north of 90%, and I know Adele's working and pushing towards that. We need to do a lot better of signing on, and we need some programs with the private sector and businesses. There's no reason in our commercial corridors, there's no reason certainly in Center City where we have businesses throughout Center City, but especially in our neighborhoods where we have schools throughout Philadelphia, right? 83 colleges in this region. It is in their best interest for many of these colleges to keep their students safe, to keep their visitors safe. Every inch of that campus should be covered by a camera. Every inch of that campus, every inch of those business corridors and some of those neighborhoods, and as much as possible, should be interlocked with the police public safety system. So I think if you get a chance to talk to Everett will tell you that's what the Real-Time Crime Center is about. That's what DIVIC is about. It's about us trying to take this commitment to the next level and make sure that we're getting a larger footprint and partnering with all stakeholders. Because the one thing is clear, the city can't do this by themselves. We don't have the financial resources to cover the city with technology. But with all our partners, the nonprofits, the schools, the private businesses, we can get a substantial portion of that footprint if we work together.
Councilman Greenlee, myself, and Councilwoman Bass and the President of Council went down to Baltimore, and we were just blown away by their use of cameras along with police on the ground, along with retired police personnel to actually triangulate in real time. As opposed to documenting a crime, they actually prevented crimes. And we were engaged by the fact that someone, a retired police officer, wasn't it, Councilman, that went and was watching a perpetrator that she knew from the streets and said, no, he's on the scene, and began to instruct a foot patrolman how to intervene. The two big crimes that we've had last year was the disappearance of the young lady that was kidnapped from Bryant School. And then one of the shocking ones for myself was the young lady that was thrown into the subway by a assailant. Both crimes were assisted, good police work, but assisted by cameras. So if we add it and, as you say, go to the next level, I just think that we will go a long way. We'll never be perfect, but we'll go a long way. 24% reduction in Baltimore is significant.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to hearing from those individuals in regard to that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is that the completion of your list of questions? Yes. Okay, then.